Good day. So today I'm beginning the course of lectures. Uh, Tentatively, it's going to be based on a class I was teaching at Columbia University. It was an experimental class on game design and mythology, like how ideas from different mythology from Hinduism, mythology from Buddhism, from Christianity, how those ideas intertwine into the uh, video games and how we may not even know and how they become in part, because these are huge fundamental ideas. And for sure, they're playing a big role in how we see like reality. And once creators of the reality start to model it in video games, uh, they're bound to use those ideas. So the first big idea and the first mythology we're going to look at is Hinduism. Um, Based on different sources, some people say uh, some of the sources, the holy books are called Vedas, and some of them are written 4,000 years ago, some of them say 3,000 years ago, and some people say that 10,000 or 30,000 years ago, depending who you talk to. But most scientists probably would say that about Hinduism is about 5,000 years old. So what are the big ideas, right? So they have a lot of different scriptures. They're called Upanishads and Vedas and different searches for wisdom from different wise men. I would say that at the heart of it, the fundamental one is the story of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita translates from Sanskrit as celestial song or song of the skies or something like that. So that is the essential book, and it's relatively small. You can buy it today in all the bookstores. People who are interested in world mythology, they can easily find it. And a lot of people who study yoga or they're into spirituality, they read this book. And so in Bhagavad Gita, the central story is the story of five brothers. And one of them was the king, and he was the righteous king, and he was tricked by his relatives into playing a game of cards, and he lost his kingdom to like a different branch in his family, basically the bad one. So basically, it's a conflict of the good versus evil. And so the brothers were sent into exile, and eventually this conflict grew into something like a civil war, a confrontation. So it was the fight between forces of good and evil, and that battle was called Kurukshetra. Kuru means field, and Kshetra means warriors. Kshetras is one of the castes of the India, the caste of the warriors. So, but before the battle started, Lord Krishna, which by that time was one of the princes, and he was one of the allied forces for the good. And not everybody knew that he was not only a king, but also a wise man. And later on in Hindu mythology, they see them as reincarnation of God, or incarnation, or an avatar. That word avatar is used widely. When you play a video game, you basically customize your avatar. Who is an avatar? Avatar is a Sanskrit word meaning direct representation of God on earth. So he was the direct representation. So by the same parallel, Buddha is an avatar, Christ is an avatar. All the biggest founders of biggest religions, they were an avatar of God, like a man, talking somebody like a spirit living in human form, and telling the will of the heavens, or telling the will of the supreme God. So basically, the big story happens right before the battle. So one of the brothers, Arjun, he's the general. He's supposed to lead the forces. He's like Hercules. He's the great archer. He's the great warrior. He's like a legendary figure in Hindu mythology. So, and Krishna said that I promised I'm not going to fight, but I'm going to be a chariot to you, and I'm going to give you an advice if you need advice. So they ride between the two forces. Everybody's ready to fight, and Arjuna is saying, "Wait a second, how can I fight? On the other side, people who supposedly my enemies. One of them is my martial arts teacher. He was my guru. He was teaching me all the arts, and a lot of people, they're my family. We happen to be on different sides, but I cannot fight them. How can I fight? What I'm going to do? I'm going to become a wise man. I'm going to live in a forest, I'm going to look for truth, and then I'm going to meditate, pray and meditate and try to achieve enlightenment. And Krishna basically said, you can do that if you want to, but you should know that whether you fight or you don't fight, all of these people are going to be dead tomorrow. And Krishna took the form, he changed his form from human being into unbelievable, huge, reality where everything is inside him. And Arjun saw all the people, some of them wounded, some of them had swords in their hearts, some of them had arrow, and there was fire everywhere. And he said, "What is that?" And he said, "That is time. I am time. Whether you fight or not, everything will happen. But the big question for you, can you fulfill your duty?" So in Hinduism, the big concept is duty. If you're born into the caste of the warriors, you're supposed to be the warrior. If you're born into the caste of the Brahmins or holy men or priests, then you're supposed to search for truth and talk to people about truth. But basically, I'm telling you, another thing which you should know, if you believe that you're going to kill anybody, it's a big mistake, because the soul is immortal. People lost this knowledge, but basically the soul comes into this world to gain experience. Soul is a direct representation of God. It is like a divine drop. It has all the quality of the water of the huge ocean, but it doesn't have the quantity. It doesn't have the power and the wisdom and all the qualities of the God. So basically, when it comes to this world, it comes for experience, and it cannot be killed. It comes from birth. It goes into this world. It's born it plunges into a newborn baby when father and mother are conceiving the baby. So that soul is born in there. Then it becomes a small young person, a child. Then it grows into the adult. Then it grows into the old man. And when old man dies, the soul comes back to the region of heaven, and it gets some rest there. It understands the experiences it took, and it goes back to the human world to fulfill its desires. At the end, the soul is supposed to become completely God, completely one with God, and it's supposed to get all the wisdom and get all the experiences of this world. So basically, this world is a school. So my advice to you, Krishna was saying to Arjuna, is you have to fulfill your duty. Look at this side, and he points to the side of all of his allies. They're waiting for you. They're waiting for your leadership. If you run away, if you become a monk and you live in a forest, you're going to disappoint them. You're not going to fulfill your mission. And then who knows how many incarnations your soul will wait until she will get this chance again. So do it now. Your purpose now is to lead the force. And hearing all that stuff, Arjuna kneeled in front of Krishna, and he led his force, and they were victorious. And basically, that was the triumph of good over evil. So the big moral of the story is that he is talking about reincarnation, the immortality of the soul. The soul cannot be destroyed by the sword, it cannot be drowned, it cannot be affected, it cannot become impure. The soul is always pure. It comes into this world to experience the world, to get the battle, the passions, the betrayal, the loyalty, to develop all the divine qualities and overcome all the negative qualities which are still present in human nature. So in Hinduism, human beings are right between the two worlds. The world of animals, where everything is to eat and to possess and to run around like a wild animal, and the world of the cosmic gods. So the potential is to go highest, higher, and to become infinitely one with God. So even the cosmic gods like Shiva or Vishnu, well, maybe not Vishnu, but a lot of, in Hinduism, they have millions of gods. But they are born into much higher status, but they cannot become inseparably one with God. So what is special about this place is that we have the capability to become inseparably one with God. So that is also the practice of yoga, and yoga means union, the union of human and divine. So the two consciousness will become one, and the human being will become the enlightened one, which is very similar to what they describe in Buddhism, which came later after the Hinduism. That's the next lecture. And so that's in a nutshell for the idea.